Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, and today is Monday, April 21st, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Time for a live stream, a mock draft, and some fun. Let us begin. The fun is the fact that there's a new tournament here that just dropped on Underdog. This, I think, is a perfect opportunity for any beginner at best ball to have some practice because the odds of advancing, it's only a $3 entry, so not a lot of money that you have to put down in order to join. But the odds of advancing are 1 in 3. The top 4 teams in this 12-team pod will get their money back. Moving forward after the draft, typically on Underdog, the odds of you getting your money back are like 1 in 6. It would be cut in half. Best you're ever going to get is like 1 in 4. So 4 out of 12 get their money back, and that does give you a bit of cushion for air, a little extra wiggle room. And if you are a beginner, this is definitely the lowest stakes tournament you can hop into. After that, you have a 1 in 5 chance of doubling your money, then a 1 in 8 chance of making $30, and then from there, you only the payouts on this tournament aren't really that insane. The top 10 is the first payout that's over $1,000, and first prize only 15K. But obviously, we're shooting for first. Let's hope that that happens. At the very least, we're getting some experience under our belt. And before the NFL draft, a last look at what the ADP values are as of today. So we're going to hop in. If you want to join me on this, if you are watching, go ahead and hit that button right now. There's about a 5-second delay. I will be hitting it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Vámonos. Let us get in here. Probably won't be a full lobby once it's set. I might also do another one. Okay, this is full. So as soon as we enter, it does fill up. So if you are with me, if you are watching, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. And if not, no worries. Should be fun either way. We're going to learn and, go a little off the beaten path with some of these picks. We're not going to try and just only take the highest ranked player every single time. I'm going to try and get who I think is the best option every single time for our team, for our build, understanding who might be available in the next round and what our specific roster does need. So, gonna be fun. And a reminder, if you want to join Underdog, if you want to sign up, you can use my code Nice and Blunt on sign up, and you will get your deposit matched up to $1,000. I doubt you're gonna drop $1,000 on sign up, but whatever you do put in will be matched. So if you put in $10, they'll give you 20 to play with. Obviously, goes up from there depending on what you do. But first 2 picks are chalk. Nothing shocking here. We have Jamar, Saquon, Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 3. So someone prefers Gibbs over Bijan. And Bijan starting to fall. If we can get Bijan at 6, that would be phenomenal. I would love that. But odds are he gets sniped here at pick 5. So probably looking at a receiver. CeeDee Lamb, very compelling selection. Do need Dak to stay healthy. Puka's there. Devontae Adams being added kind of worries me a little bit on Puka's price here in round 1. I do like Nico. I think that's a safe pick. I think St. Brown, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors are very safe. But let's just go with CeeDee Lamb in round 1. Sometimes you don't have that many opportunities to take some of these higher ranked players. Rarely do guys in the top 6 fall to the back half. So we will stick with the ADP, but I do kind of feel like all these receivers here are in a similar boat. I wouldn't be shocked if St. Brown or any of these other wide receivers outperformed Lamb, but I think from a wide receiver 1 guaranteed standpoint, Lamb is a safe pick at the top. I do like overall the ADPs in round 1. I think pretty much everyone is a safe pick. However, we see a strange selection, bold move at pick 9 Highlight reel goes Christian McCaffrey at pick 9. CMC is on the thumbnail, and over the course of this video, I did kind of want to have a conversation about the Niners, but everything kind of hinges on Christian McCaffrey. So I would not be taking him in the first round. I think there's a lot of risk, massive bust potential. Didn't work out last year, and those multiple Achilles injuries scares the shit out of me. So high risk, high reward, but personally I think it's a little too risky for my liking. I would not be going McCaffrey. Probably even in the second round. I don't even think I like his true price tag. What is his actual ADP? Highlight reel took him at pick 9. He goes pick 13. So he has been moving up to the turn there, but not my favorite pick where he went. But we're pick 19. We do have A.J. Brown falling a little bit. I do kind of prefer a running back here. I'm going to go Jonathan Taylor. I have some high hopes for the Colts next season. And if Taylor can just stay healthy, I do think he's a safe selection here. But high-end running back talent, I've noticed, has been drying up a little bit earlier this year on Underdog. And I kind of feel like all the wide receivers you get in mid, late second round, third round are all kind of the same. So I don't think we can really replicate Taylor with our next pick. It's not a guarantee. Like, maybe Jacobs falls, but he'll have to repeat 15 touchdowns like he had last season. Perhaps Kyron stays just as viable, but I could also see him getting sniped. And I kind of feel like even if we get Mike Evans in the next round, that's not that much different than drafting Ladd McConkey or even A.J. Brown. So I'm comfortable with Jonathan Taylor in the second round there. But it was between him and A.J. Brown. That was definitely the main decision on that pick. So hopefully it works out, but I do like Taylor in round 2. Then A.J. Brown, Ladd McConkey, Trey McBride, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, JSN, Garrett Wilson. Team 3, passing on wide receiver 3 straight times. We'll see how that team works out. We'll keep an eye on Team 3 as this draft goes on. But DJ Moore, one of my favorite picks in this round, does get sniped. However, Terry is still available. I'm perfectly satisfied with Terry McLaurin. At 13 touchdowns last year, he's a lock for 1,000 yards. Terry's a pretty bust-proof pick. He has like 6 straight years with over 1,000 yards. And I don't worry about Debo stealing touchdowns from him at a high clip. Maybe they draft someone that comes into play, but he's firmly locked into that number 1 receiving role. In Washington, I trust Terry a lot. Definitely a safe pick here. I do like Davante Adams in the third round as well. I think now that this is a new tournament, you can enjoy the green light when considering Davante Adams, because I've mentioned this on other live streams, taking him at this price when in the same tournament he was going 2 rounds later. Not as fun, but here, I think if I didn't have Terry on the board, I probably would have gone with Davante Adams. I think that would have been my preferred selection. I really have a strong projection on Adams this year. Playing with Stafford, I don't feel like he's fallen off at all, really. And Sean McVay is going to make that thing work. Sean McVay will give Davante Adams a ton of upside in that system. So really like him. I think I'd much rather go Davante Adams over Harrison, Worthy, Garrett Wilson as well. I do not trust Garrett Wilson's quarterback situation. So some strong picks in the third round, I think, are DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, and especially Davante Adams. But then we see Lamar, Kyron, Josh Allen go off after Davante. And then in the fourth round, this price on Mike Evans is pretty solid, pretty safe. A discount from last year. And he's probably still going to give you 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns like he always does. So, like the price on Evans, Hampton, boy, the upside is undeniable. But until we know where he lands, a little risky to take Hampton at 38. Anyway, we're on the clock. Kittle gets sniped before us, but We're at pick 43, and I do like Chase Brown a lot. I think Chase Brown is this year's candidate to be the new Austin Eckler. That's what he was starting to do late last season. I think Chase Brown is probably a lock for like 60 plus receptions. It could creep higher and approach 90. There's a chance that Chase Brown in that system puts up 80 plus catches. So really trust Chase Brown. He's talented, and I don't think Samaje Perine is a threat to him at all. I'd be kind of shocked if the Bengals drafted a running back. If they do, it'd be like kind of like how they drafted Chase Brown in the 5th round or perhaps later. It is a deep running back class in this year's draft, but I see very little risk on Chase Brown, and he has top 5 upside. There's a world where Chase Brown ends the season as a top 5 running back this season in fantasy. So, so far, I feel pretty confident in our team. We also have some divisional correlation with CeeDee Lamb and Terry McLaurin, so they will have 2 games facing off against each other next year. Increases the likelihood that we get that round 17 correlation, week 17, I should say, the final round of this tournament, where all the money is really made. If you can make it to week 17 and you have multiple players in a game that becomes the highest scoring game on the week, you have some high odds of making it work out. So I like this start, pretty balanced approach, but I think we've ignored wide receiver a little more than I would like to, and I think if we ignore it again, we might get fucked. So I'm definitely taking receiver here. I'm not interested in Chuba Hubbard. I'd prefer if we can get Walker Kamara to fall to us. That's probably not going to happen, but Mixon is tempting. If I did not have 2 running backs, I would be considering Mixon here, but that is not my direction with this pick. Definitely not what I'd like to do. So I'm eyeing Chris Godwin. I think there's a world where Waddle does have a good season because Tyreek Hill may not be the same. Could also get traded, but I'm not fully committed to JJ McCarthy. I'm not a believer in JJ McCarthy in his rookie season. And Tua could always go down and crater Waddle's value. Even when Tua didn't go down, Waddle wasn't like insanely good. So I do think Godwin is a bit of a tier break in this 5th round here. And if he can be healthy, he also has top 10 upside. So I think he should be going a lot closer to Mike Evans. But coming off that injury, I will happily take the discount on Godwin at pick 54 compared to Mike Evans at 37. But Cash Fee, nice to see you in the chat, my friend. You passed on Brian Thomas Jr. again. I did. I think taking Brian Thomas Jr. at 6 is a little risky. I would like to see what they do in the draft before I fully commit to Brian Thomas Jr. above CeeDee Lamb. Like, as wide receiver 3, I'm a big Brian Thomas Jr. fan, but there's not much room for error there. And I think they could draft a receiver and shake things up a little bit in terms of the target share. So, yeah, at pick 6, I am willing to pass on Brian Thomas. He's a great value, though, at the back end of the 1st round. Max Trinko asking, what up, gang? What team you root for? I'm a Charger fan, bro. I'm a Charger fan. It's a bit of a cursed existence, but we do have some hope on the horizon. Let's hope we get some weapons in this year's draft. So that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, we're back on the clock. Laporta's on the board. Montgomery, Najee Harris, Jaden Reed, Quinshon Judkins. I should probably go receiver, but I'm not dying to do it. Yeah. Damn. I think I'm going to swing for upside and go Quinshon Judkins. In my mock draft that I posted late last week, I do have Judkins being drafted to the Cowboys. That is my landing spot for him. He's definitely a mid-second round pick, so that's a possibility. He could also find his way to the Bears if the Bears pass on running back in round 1. They have 2 round 2 picks, and I think one of them will be on a running back. I have them projected to be drafting TreVeyon Henderson, but it's possible Henderson's already off the board, and I think the next best option would be Judkins. So, because there's still the unknown, there's a world where Judkins has a perfect landing spot and does blow up in value. The safer pick would have been Dave Montgomery. For sure, it would have been Dave Montgomery. But I'm willing to take a swing on Judkins. This running back class has some really high upside options. So the right landing spot offers high-end potential. And I do think Judkins is one of those names that could pop off. So let's hope for the best. But Trinko asking, do you think Chargers would go Hampton? And do you think it's the right move as a franchise? I think if Hampton is on the board at 22, they're picking at 22, I'd be happy with that selection. I would like that pick. I wouldn't be upset with it at all. I do like Hampton a lot. I just would be kind of shocked to see multiple teams pass on him leading up to that pick. So if he's there, go ahead. I don't think it's a terrible pick, but I do like players like Caleb Johnson, Quinshon Judkins, TreVeyon Henderson, and even Cam Skattebo, and they're all going to be available in the mid-second round. So I think in round one, if they don't have Colston Loveland on the board, then I'd be perfectly fine with Hampton. I think he is worthy of a first-round pick. I just think he's going to be going higher. I think he will come off the board sooner than they are picking. So we'll see what they decide to do. But a bit... Sorry, let me focus on this pick. We need receiver. I'm going to go Matthew Golden. I have him mocked for the Cowboys as well. And if the Cowboys pass, then he has some good landing spots even later. There's a chance he's even the first wide receiver off the board. Golden has a lot of upside. So I'll take Matthew Golden, and hopefully we're setting ourselves up for a double stack with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott if that pick actually does come to fruition. But if the Chargers have a shot at Hampton, I think they should take it. I do like that pick. But Cashby saying, I think Najee would have been a good pick there. The reason why I pass on Najee is because of this conversation we're kind of having about Hampton. I'm not sure they're going to take Hampton, but I do believe they're drafting a running back, and I really think there are some candidates to overtake Najee in that offense considerably. In my view, and this may change after the draft if this doesn't happen how I'm expecting it, but in my opinion, Najee Harris is the new Gus Edwards. He's not the new J.K. Dobbins. He's the new Gus Edwards. He's going to stay healthy, but he's not really going to provide that like high-level burst. He's never been an extremely prolific player. He probably offers a 1,000-yard floor as always, but it's going to come down to touchdowns. And until I know who else is in that backfield, I think this price on Najee is too high. Honestly, I'd rather have Caleb Johnson, even Tony Pollard, over Najee Harris as of today. But I could sound like a dumbass a week from now. If they pass on running back, then yeah, Najee probably is deserving of this pick. But until I see it, I'm going to move off of that position a little bit. I'm willing to take the swing on Judkins because if he lands with a team like Dallas, probably not going to have much competition. I would not worry about Javonte Williams at all. That's my hope. So, look, I can be wrong about all this. I can be giving you terrible takes, but I'm giving you my honest opinion and being true to my expectations on what these players can offer in terms of value. I'm going to go Baker here. Baker was phenomenal last year. We have the Chris Godwin stack. Let's go Baker. And if Godwin does indeed stay healthy, then this will be a very nice stack to have. So let's take the stack. I don't think there are that many quarterbacks that are like truly that valuable, offering top 5 upside. Like other than Baker and Caleb Williams, I'm not a believer in Kyler's elite potential anymore. I think Bo Nix's ceiling is like quarterback 10 on the season. Decent value, but a little bit capped. And then Goff, I don't think will replicate the season he just had because Ben Johnson's gone. And then Brock Purdy, things would really need to fall in the right direction for Purdy to work out. But I do trust Baker. Baker's been very productive as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And last year, I do think can repeat. So we'll go with Baker here. And yeah, always keeping it nice and blunt. That's the motto. The channel name reminds me of the like mantra. Even if I'm wrong, gotta stay honest, gotta tell you what I think. And try and back it up with some level of research. It's not strictly intuition, you know? There's some research I do put into these takes. But we could go Mark Andrews. That'd be interesting. Darnell Mooney's on the board. But Andrews had 11 touchdowns last year. This is a big discount on Andrews. I'm going to take Andrews. He's never really going to offer you like 100 plus yards. You know, Andrews is like a consistent like 40, 50, 60 yard type of player. But another thing that's so consistent is his touchdown production. Andrews is just so solid as a touchdown maker. I think at this big discount from where he's gone previously, I will take Andrews. There's some rumors that they might trade him, but I don't see that happening. I think he'll stay there. They almost never go away from him in the red zone. So he did start off really rough last year. And as I was saying, not a single game with over 68 yards. Like that's his ceiling. You're never getting a 100-yard game from Andrews, but there's a lot of games with consistent touchdowns just being racked up game after game, week after week. And I am still kind of in the camp of the reason why he was so bad to start the season last year was because of that car accident. Like, it wasn't heavily reported, but like if you get into a major car wreck and, you know, within 3-4 weeks, you're expected to be one of the best athletes in the world, like I'm willing to give him a bit of leeway and say, yeah, maybe that's not emblematic of who he actually is. I think there's some recovery that really plays into why he was bad to start the season. I know he was terrible in the playoffs, why they lost because of some of his drops, but the touchdowns, I don't think are going anywhere. Back on the clock. We're set up for a Dak selection in the next round, so not going to go quarterback, but we only have 4 receivers, got 3 running backs. I think I'm going to pass on running back. Nah. I don't love this price on Charbonnet, but I do think he's worth taking every now and then because Walker has been getting injured kind of consistently lately. There have been a lot of injuries for Walker. He just doesn't stay on the field as much as you'd like. So when he doesn't, Charbonnet is like a top 15 running back. So hard to get higher upside with a backup. Maybe I should be drafting a starter above Charbonnet, but if he does get a lot of the starts this season, then Charbonnet is worth more. So that's a odd pick. Could have gone tight end as well there. I do like Evan Ingram. I also like Njoku at this price, but I'm willing to take Charbonnet because if he does work out, he has tremendous upside. So not sure if that is the right pick, but a click I'm willing to make in round 10 on Charbonnet. Cashby saying Sean Payton with Ingram, Bo might get a nice bump this upcoming season. I think if they draft a good receiver as well, then I would be a little more tempted. Like, I have them projected in my mock draft to go Luther Burden in the first round. Maybe they get a good receiver like Jaden Higgins or Jalen Noel in the late second. But I think Bo is kind of gonna remain at the ceiling we kind of saw last year. I think the real upside with Bo Nix is his rushing ability, and that's going to start to dwindle year over year as the years goes by. As he gets older, that will start to be diminished. But we have CeeDee Lamb. We're hoping that Matthew Golden gets selected by the Cowboys. We are hoping for a double stack. And if Quinshon Judkins is also a Cowboy, as we were hoping, then Dak Prescott makes all the sense in the world at this selection. You need stacks in best ball to really have that shot at true upside and winning the tournament. And we have been in the Cowboys camp up to this point. I also think the Cowboys are going to have a really bad defense next year. I think their offense is going to be in catch-up mode a ton, and they might not win more than 6 games, but that doesn't matter at all for my purposes. I want that offense to be in garbage time as much as possible, and at the moment, their run game is trash. That means they're going to move the ball through the air like crazy. So could Dak be a shell of himself post-injury? Yes, there is a lot of risk with this Dak Prescott selection. But is there also top 10 upside? Yes, of course there is. And with the stacks, I'm willing to justify it. I think he's in this justified tier. Like, if Dak is healthy, I think he's a better pick than Trevor Lawrence for sure. Love was pretty hit or miss last season, so that's a little dicey. And then J.J. McCarthy, I think, is a very risky pick. Like, yeah, I trust Kevin O'Connell, but do I trust J.J. McCarthy with not much experience, never really being asked to do much in college, and still the looming threat that Aaron Rodgers could steal his job? I do not like that pick at all. So I like Prescott in this round. I like Love in this round, and I also like Michael Penix. And then it kind of just depends on what stacks you're set up for in terms of tiebreakers. This draft, we were set up for a Dak Prescott selection. So that's the motivation there. Tootin, kind of interesting, but not going to take him. Keenan Allen just keeps falling. We have 4 running backs. I'm definitely not taking running back here. I need a receiver. And if there's someone I think offers the highest upside, it would be Keenan Allen. I am still kind of hoping he goes to the Chargers. If he does, that may not be the best landing spot for him. But Keenan Allen can still produce. He had 7 touchdowns last year. And he will be playing in the NFL next season. So pretty ass spot here in the draft when it comes to wide receiver talent. But I do feel comfortable with Keenan in the 12th round. But Trinko saying, just want to say I appreciate the weekly fantasy rankings videos and keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Max. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, it's I try and put a lot of effort into those, give you as best of advice as I can, and it means a lot that you appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Cashby says Andrews is coming off the injury, and he's got the diabetes thing. Wanted me to go Swift, but I did not take Swift. Yeah, Andrews and that car accident, I think, is why those early weeks were so bad. Like, here's his game log. Pulled it back up. 14 yards in week 1, 51 yards the next week, and then back-to-back bagels. Everyone was jumping ship, but if you only look at him from weeks 5 through the end of the season, like, an average of 4 catches for 47 yards per game with 11 touchdowns in 13 weeks. So that's like, let's see, 0.8 times. We're looking at 11 points per game, maybe a little more. I'm doing all the math in my head. I could be a little bit off on like the exact number there, but 11 points per game in the final 13 weeks. I'll bet on that in round 9. Past pick 100, I'll take a shot on Andrews. I could easily see Andrews outperform Jonnu Smith. I could easily see him outperform TJ Hawkinson. He was more valuable than Laporta last year, and I think the discount has gone a little bit too far. I think Andrews should be going a round or 2 higher. Andrews feels like a really safe pick there in round 9. But perhaps Isaiah Likely, really comes on strong. Maybe he steals his job, perhaps. That is possible. Okay, so glad I took a receiver with that last pick. Holy shit, is it depleted? Um, I mean, we're just hitting every cowboy at this point. Fuck it. Let's triple down. Let's go Jake Ferguson, because this hopeful Quinshon Judkins stack probably not going to happen. Pretty optimistic. The Matthew Golden selection, I think will happen, but it's obviously not a guarantee. So we have Dak, and if you watch this channel this time last year, throughout the entire offseason, I was a firm believer in Jake Ferguson. And once Dak went down, Ferguson just was a major flop. But if Dak is healthy, there's not better chemistry with anyone else that would really crater him. So, like, if they were to add a good rookie receiver, that would take away some attention in the red zone. And that's all Ferguson was really missing. Ferguson didn't have a single touchdown last year. Meanwhile, the year before that, he had 7. So it's going to bounce back. I think he's probably going to score at least 5 in the upcoming year. And we need another tight end. It aligns with our stacks. Ferguson in round 13 is a fine pick. Like, I kind of see Ferguson as like this year's like Pat Freiermuth type of value, and Freiermuth was going like a full round higher than this last season and outperformed his ADP. So I'm comfortable with Ferguson, but again, it all hinges on Dak Prescott's health. If Dak can stay healthy, that passing offense should be okay. But maybe Brian Schottenheimer's offense is truly that bad. It could really, really suck. So let's hope for the best. But am I a little worried about it? Yes. Could not pan out. But you've seen me take Rachaad White a ton in these drafts. And again, I really don't understand why he's valued this low. I'm still on board with Rachaad White at this point. Like, I know Bucky Irving is good, but they're a run-first offense a lot of weeks. Even Sean Tucker has some high value, and Rachaad White is capable of catching like 50, 60 passes, even as the backup to Bucky Irving. And we do have the Baker Mayfield stack as well, so let's bet on Tampa. And if Bucky does go down, then Rachaad is back in the top 15. Rachaad would be an excellent value. I see nothing but upside from Rachaad. You're drafting him at his floor here. You're going to get safer volume than you're betting on with Jalen Wright, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal. I would not be taking some of these rookies ahead of Rachaad White. So I'll happily click that button at pick 163. I was also considering Blake Corum and RJ Harvey. I do like Harvey. He needs the right landing spot to work out. But I do think Harvey's a competitive rookie running back. And then Blake Corum, last year we were drafting him 4 rounds higher. You know, like, to pretend like that upside is just gone after a down first year in the NFL, I think is a bit of an overreaction. So I am interested in Blake Corum this year. I also still have some hopes that Dobbins signs with the Chargers, but we have plenty of running backs. I'm not dying to take that swing. I have Kyle Williams mocked to go to the Chiefs in my mock draft, so let's take a swing on him. He's a pretty solid receiver. I do feel somewhat confident in his ability. I also like Elik Ayamanor. Ayamanor's definitely a second round pick as well. Jalen Royals, I also like. And then, did Noel already come off the board? I think Noel was already taken, most likely. Yeah, Jalen Noel went pick 147. I really like Jalen Noel. I think in the second round, my favorite 2 receivers off the board are the 2 Iowa State receivers. Jaden Higgins at 6'4" and Jalen Noel, I believe he's 6'1". Let me be accurate. No, he's 5'10". I'm thinking of Royals. But he ran a 4.39. Best comp is Rashee Rice. I do think Noel is a valuable player, but we did just draft Kyle Williams. Let's bring up some stats on Kyle Williams as we have time. with our next pick. Out of Washington State, ran a 4.4, so decent speed. 5'11", 190, only 30-inch arms. Could be longer. Not the biggest burst scores, but last year had 1,200 yards receiving, 14 touchdowns, played all 4 years in college, and I think he'll be polished enough where he's going to be ready to contribute in his rookie season. So hoping for a good landing spot. It could be the Chargers, it could be the Bills, it could be the Texans, it could be the Commanders. I have him going top of the third to the Chiefs. And because of where I think he's going to go, I think he's going to go in the late second or the top of the third. And that's the type of teams we want these rookies to land to. We want them to go to viable offenses with good quarterbacks. And that's the sweet spot. Like, falling to the end of round 2 is the ideal landing spot in the draft. Those are the teams we really would like to see these players go to. So I think it's worth a swing. I think especially in round 15, drafting a rookie receiver like this, like, very unlikely he goes down in the rankings. I think he's kind of only going to go up. So I do like Kyle Williams there. I also like Ayamanor. And if he's going to be available in the next round, then we will go Jalen Royals. So Ayamanor, I think I have mocked to the Commanders. I could also see him going to the Texans. Decent receiver as well. He has 10-inch hands. Ayamanor has the largest hands in this year's draft class. And typically the average hand size is like 9.25, 9.5 inches. To have 10-inch hands at receiver, like, is that immediately going to say that he's a great player? No. But does it help? Yes. Having bigger hands when your job is to catch the football, I think, is a beneficial thing when you're evaluating these athletes and have no idea what's actually going to happen. So I don't think it's like the only thing you should focus on, but when it comes to like my tiebreakers at this position, it's definitely a tiebreaker when I'm like, oh, what's the difference between some of these prospects? Oh, well, this guy has hands that are an inch wider than anyone else. Yeah, maybe I trust him to be coveted a little bit more. Anyways, we have how many picks left? We have 4 picks left. Is this a 20-round draft? It is. 4 picks left, and we've kind of been flying through this. I will be doing another one of these. I will be doing a second best ball draft. So stay tuned for that. If you want to join me, I will let you know when I'm going to do that. We'll hop in just a bit here. But we did get sniped on Royals. That is unfortunate. Would have liked Royals on our team. And knowing he's not available, perhaps we stick in Dallas, another stack option. We already have, in my opinion, 3 stack options with Golden. So I think I'm going to pass on Tolbert. I would have liked Gesicki there. I really would have liked Gesicki, but not available. I'm not in love with Hopkins this season. A.D. Mitchell, not a fan. Let's go Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper did really drop off once he joined the Bills, but could still really contribute and have a very high-end season. So hoping for the best in round 17. Like, there's so much risk in the first place. It could, totally blow up. Could totally blow up, but could also pay off. It's kind of like the Keenan Allen pick a few rounds ago. Like, these are the last veterans who have yet to sign, and I think wisely they're waiting until after the draft to try and pick the best location, a team that still needs them. I still think there's plenty left in the tank for Cooper this year. Cooper's not that old. I think he's like 31. I'm pretty sure Amari Cooper's 31. Yeah, he'll be turning 31 in a few months. But compared to some of these other names, like I'd rather be going Cooper than Hopkins. I think Hopkins is a bit washed. Not the same player as he once was. Obviously, you can say that about Cooper, but given the unknown landing spot, I'm a bit more enticed with Cooper. Just my relative risk level. I'll go Mike Williams as well. Or maybe not. We've got 3 more picks. I need running back. But I'm going to go Chig Okonkwo. I think Chig could have a really good season with Cam Ward. Because the thing about the Titans that I find very interesting and why I'd be willing to bet on some of their existing weapons right now, the Titans don't have a 3rd round pick. The Titans traded it away to the Chiefs last year. And so they're going to be in this weird spot where round 1, we all know they're going Cam Ward. But then in the 2nd round, if they go with a receiver there, unless Luther Burden or Egbuka fall, I think they're making a massive reach at that position. I don't think they're going to go tight end. I think they're going to trust Okonkwo enough. And that means they're not going to be back on the clock until the 4th round to address weapon. So the odds that they draft a player in round 2 that's really eating into the target share for guys like Calvin Ridley or Chig Okonkwo are pretty slim. And that means if Cam Ward is really that good, where he can elevate a team, perhaps at least on offense like CJ Stroud did 2 years ago, then you're going to get really, solid, consistent production out of those weapons. And at the moment, I really can't envision anyone challenging Chig for targets. I just don't see it. Like maybe they somehow luck into Luther Burden at the top of the 2nd round if he really does fall, but odds are he's going to be off the board. And at that point, they'd have to be reaching on the other round 2 receivers that I think are really more equipped to be going in the later half of round 2, not the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. So that's why I think Okonkwo has some upside, because there could be a world where he is remaining as the number 2 receiver in Tennessee. I think there's a chance that they do sign Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, and that's not like the biggest threat in the world. So at tight end, the bar is lower. I do think Okonkwo can contribute in a relatively valuable way. So I'm willing to take him and hope for the best, but it is pretty gross at this point all across the board. I'm thinking I'm going Kareem Hunt. We have good running backs. It's not the end of the world, but that Chiefs backfield is completely up for grabs. Pacheco looked so washed at the end of last season. And while Kareem Hunt is fucking old, he didn't look too bad. I think the Chiefs backfield, it's going to be like a 1 week it's this guy, the next week it's this guy, and then it's just going to keep rotating. I think all 3 of them have value, and if Mitchell was still on the board, I'd be drafting Elijah Mitchell, but Kareem Hunt is the cheapest, and that's why I'm going to be taking Kareem Hunt here. Just hoping for the best. But there is a scenario where he does put up similar numbers to last year. So this is our team so far. We have Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott. Both of them are stacked up a decent amount. At running back, we have Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, Zach Charbonnet, Rachaad White, and Kareem Hunt. And then at wide receiver, we're hoping for some rookies to pan out. But CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Chris Godwin. If Godwin's healthy, that is a very safe top 3. But obviously, Godwin being healthy is a bit of a hopeful outcome. Then we have Matthew Golden, Keenan Allen, Kyle Williams, Elick Yamanor, and Amari Cooper. None of those 5 players have a team yet. So we're going to luck out on some of them. We're going to get screwed on some of the others. But if 3 of them find the right landing spot, they will contribute and will offer good flex appeal on my roster. So I'm comfortable enough, a little risky at wide receiver, but comfortable enough. And then tight end, we have Andrews, Ferguson, and Okonkwo. And with our last pick, we are going with quarterback. And I'm willing to completely give up on Anthony Richardson at this point in time. I think Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback for the majority of the season with the Colts. And that's a good enough offense. He has rushing upside. And I do trust Shane Steichen enough to make it work. It also slightly correlates with our Jonathan Taylor selection. Taylor's not much of a pass catcher, but if someone's going to be vulturing him on rushing touchdowns, it would be Daniel Jones. So with that combo, unless Richardson just keeps that job, then by the time we hit like week 7, we might be locking up every single rushing touchdown for the Colts in the second half of the year. So we go Daniel Jones. I do think at this point, he's one of the most viable quarterback values on the board. So that's our team. Let me know in the comment section what you think. If there were selections you didn't quite like, if you enjoyed, hit that like button. And with that said, we're going to hop back into the lobby. If you would like to join me, we are entering the little board 2, and we're on about a 6-ish second delay. So hit that button right now, and I will be hitting it in 3, 2, 1. Let us join. We have 8 spots. 8 spots remaining in this lobby. We have a little bit of time before it fills. So I'll check the comments. Cashvy's asking, aren't you concerned about the strong defense in the NFC East? Like the Cowboys-centric lineup, I don't know, kind of risky. I mean, you can worry about that type of stuff, but in my logic, how I'm thinking about the Cowboys and for fantasy purposes, I think they're going to be a bad team. I don't think their defense is going to keep them involved very much. Like maybe they address that heavily in the draft, but I think they're mostly going to be addressing offense early on. And I think they're going to be in a lot of garbage time. I think they're going to lose a lot of games and be down by like 20 points in the third quarter relatively often. So that's just going to be more motivation to throw the ball. And I think that's what's going to pad the stats. So that's my logic on why I'm willing to bet on the Cowboys. But to your further point, I would have considered Strange / Kmet over picking Ferguson. I'm not saying that like I rank Ferguson above those players. I don't have a definitive opinion on exactly, but in my view, they're in a similar range. And because I've set myself up for the stack in best ball, this is the consolidated bet I'm making. I'm trying to assume that the Cowboys are going to be a little bit better than the market predicts. And over the course of time, this Dak Prescott Ferguson stack will pay off and pay dividends for me. It will work out simply because of the correlation. So if this was like a regular redraft team, like for season long, then yeah, I think I do prefer Kmet straight up over Ferguson. But in best ball, I'm hoping for the best outcome possible. And because I already hitched my wagon to the Cowboys, I'm just furthering that assumption. Because if I'm wrong and the safer pick would help me, have like 5th or 6th place be a bit more of like a middle of the pack type of team, that doesn't matter. Like being the worst team in this draft and the 5th best team in this draft is all the same. We need the highest outcome possible to make a big profit. And we're gambling at the end of the day. I'm just making a gamble on the Cowboys early in this draft, and I'm doubling down as the opportunities come my way later on. So do I know for a fact that Ferguson was the best pick there at the position? No. For my team in best ball with the stack, it made more sense to justify, and that's why I was willing to do it. But yeah, straight up, as of this moment, I would assume Cole Kmet probably has a bit more value than Jake Ferguson. Also saying you can never have enough running backs on a team really opens up those trade discussions. Yeah, the thing about best ball, though, we have no opportunity to make any trades. We have no waiver wire. We have no trade capabilities. And who you draft is just who you're stuck with. So, in general, I do kind of like to hoard running backs as a strategy. And yeah, it is a wise thing to have. But when you have to start 3 receivers and only 2 running backs in this format, you can't ignore receiver for too long. I kind of feel like I skipped out on that position a little too much in the last draft. So let's try and learn from some of our mistakes and readjust. We have pick 9 this time. We'll be on the clock in just a couple seconds. I prefer Malik Nabers. I'm going to go Malik Nabers. Over Puka, I think Adams kind of scares me. And I know Russell Wilson isn't like the most exciting quarterback there, but I genuinely believe, especially as the season goes on, we're going to get a bunch of Jameis Winston games. We're going to get Jameis chucking it deep down the field. I think when Jameis Winston is the quarterback, we're literally going to see like some 15 target games for Malik Nabers that turn into like 11 catches for like 160 yards, like, and maybe 2 touchdowns. Like, the Jameis Winston effect is going to offer elite upside for Malik Nabers. I was so excited for Malik Nabers when I saw that they signed Jameis Winston. They did bring in Russ like the next day, but boy, the Jameis Winston effect is going to be really, really awesome. So I will take Malik Nabers there happily. But I do think St. Brown's a good pick. Puka's not a bad pick. I just am excited about Malik Nabers, so I'll take Nabers. Mentioned earlier, I think it's a really bad pick to be going McCaffrey, so I'm not going to do that. But I don't really like some of these other picks. We'll go Derrick Henry. I think for the length of his contract in Baltimore, I'm willing to trust Derrick Henry. The Lamar Jackson effect on that team, we've seen it work out almost every single time. The running back paired with Lamar Jackson is putting up double-digit touchdowns. We saw that with Gus Edwards. He scored 13 touchdowns 2 years ago. Derrick Henry had 17 touchdowns last year. Derrick Henry is going to be fine. The only way it doesn't work out is if he goes down with injury. But playing with Lamar Jackson, he's going to get some open lanes. He will burst things open. I think Henry's a fine pick in the second round. There's probably some receivers that have higher upside. But in terms of a safe floor at running back, I've learned not to bet against Derrick Henry. So we'll bet on him. Stick with him. The man's a tank. The man just doesn't get hurt. And I know a few years he did have that foot injury, cost him like half the season, but I think he'll be okay. I'll take the swing. Okay, so we go Malik Nabers, Derrick Henry, some youth and old age. But anything that's like popping out as like super strange in this draft? Not really. We see Bowers at pick 12. That's too pricey for me. I don't want to make that investment. London at pick 13. Yikes. The problem with these round 2 receivers is that you're still getting just as good players in the third round. Like, I think you could justify Devontae Adams at pick 13. Once you pass St. Brown, I think you enter a different tier. And while I would be going A.J. Brown as the next guy, I think you can justify Devontae Adams. But I think A.J. Brown is the next correct pick at receiver. But still doesn't like inspire like the most confidence in me. That offense really changed with Saquon. Sometimes the receivers just kind of disappear. But a very safe pick with A.J. Brown. Tyreek Hill, we hope, bounces back. It's not a guarantee. T. Higgins should be okay, but often misses some time with hamstring injuries. And he's not in a contract season, so he's not going to be fighting through pain as willingly as he did last year. So Higgins, I'm fine with that pick. I love DJ Moore. I've mentioned on a previous draft I like Terry. We took him in the last draft, I should say. But Mike Evans and Davante Adams, I think, are the can't miss wide receivers in round 3. And we're getting one of them. We're getting Adams. I'll happily draft Davante Adams at pick 33. Love that this tournament opened today. Have no concerns about previous price points on any of these players. So I would prefer Adams over. Let's just look at the receivers above him. Definitely Harrison. Definitely Garrett Wilson. I think JSN is a conversation, but personally, I'd rather go Adams. T. Higgins probably an equal value. Tyreek Hill, I think I'd probably draft before Adams, but I could see it not working out. And then I think DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans are in the exact same tier as Adams. But I'd put Ladd McConkey in that tier as well. I would put them behind A.J. Brown, but also in a similar tier to Drake London. That's my opinion here. If Lamar falls, I might take Lamar. Yeah, I'm not dying to go with some of those receivers. Let's go Lamar Jackson. We've got every Baltimore rushing touchdown locked up on this roster. Lamar's a very safe pick. Not going to regret drafting Lamar Jackson. So we're trying to favor receiver a little bit more than last time around. And that means I think at this next turn in rounds 5 and 6, pick 57, 64, I think I'm going to double tap receiver. Because we ignored it in the last draft and it kind of bit me in the ass. And we also learned that the stack on Mark Andrews is extremely well priced. If we can get Andrews at pick 105, that'd be fucking awesome. Even taking him at pick 88, I think is justified. So we'll look at the board. We'll see if we think he can come back around. But I think these next 3 rounds, don't be shocked if I draft 3 straight receivers and come away with 5 of them in the top 7 rounds. That is likely what I will be doing. Speaking of likely, we could also target Isaiah Likely later on. That feels like a good stack. What's the price on Likely? Where is he going? Drafted as tight end 15. Above guys like Ferguson, Goddard, Pitts, Kmet, Strange, Otten, Ertz. Yeah, a little overpriced. But there is some upside. I understand why he's going there, but I wish he was going closer to tight end 20 than tight end 15. Anyways, take a look at the board. If Omarion Hampton gets drafted to the wrong team, this could be a major disappointment as he's moved up the board, but he is really talented. It probably works out. After Hampton, we see Hurts, Devontae Smith. Hurts is stacked up with A.J. Brown. Odunze, a bold price on Odunze. I could see that not work out at all. But then Metcalf, Zay Flowers, Chase Brown, George Kittle, McMillan, James Cook, Addison, Waddle, Godwin, Joe Burrow, Travion Henderson. The picks I like the most in that range would be obviously Hurts. Hurts is very safe. I like Devontae Smith. I think Metcalf is fine. I think Flowers a bit overpriced. Odunze a bit overpriced. I'd rather have a Godwin than all of them. I like Kittle. His value is really good. Sutton comes off the board. Damn, I would have liked Cortland Sutton there. We're going to pass on Mixon. I think I'm going to go Olave. He might not have a quarterback to throw him the ball that we trust, but there's also a world where Shedeur Sanders is throwing him the ball, so that'd probably be decent. Olave was a second-round pick last year and the year before that, so let's take the drop in ADP as our wide receiver 3. I'm comfortable with Olave. He just doesn't score many touchdowns. That's been the problem with Olave, like his entire career. But he is coming off the board as wide receiver 30, 32 at this point. That's a big discount from what we expected in the past. I'm pretty comfortable with Olave in round 5. That feels relatively safe. But with our next pick, I would really like to draft Calvin Ridley. I'd be comfortable with Jaden Reed. And then if I have to reach on Myers, I'd consider it, but I'm not excited to do that. Ideally, we're getting Calvin Ridley. I think Ridley's undervalued. Just like Okonkwo, those Titans receivers, I think could pop off. But he does get sniped. We do miss out. That kind of sucks. It's best ball, and Jaden Reed does have 30-point upside, so I'm going to go Jaden Reed. At the moment, he's the number 1 receiver in Green Bay, and they never draft receivers in the first round, so I don't think that's going to be overtaken. I think Jaden Reed is going to pay off. This is a little later than where he was drafted last year, and I don't think he's losing much value. I think their offense was a bit of a letdown, but that's because Jordan Love got injured in week 1. He had a groin injury at the end of that Brazil game, and I'm willing to believe that was the main reason why Jordan Love had such a bad year. He was never 100% healthy, and even with Malik Willis, we did see some good weeks for Jaden Reed. So he should probably put up another double-digit touchdown season, and he also offers you the most rushing yards among all receivers. It's not like a ton. Like, I only think he had like 150, 175 rushing yards last year. I think it was like 160, something like that. It's not like the biggest contribution, but it is something. And he's also like the volatile type of player where when he pops off, the ceiling is huge. So in best ball, that does give him a little extra value. Due to the nature of what we're playing, we need to shoot for upside, and that's why I'm willing to go Jaden Reed in round 6. I think that's a fine selection. I'd be worried about taking Travis Hunter. Like, we're assuming Hunter goes to the Browns. You trust Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett that much? I don't. I'm not that excited. And as a rookie, I'd be worried that his contribution as a receiver is the lowest of his career. I'm a bit worried about that Travis Hunter pick there at 66. I'd rather go Pearsall. I'd rather go Jacoby Myers. I think Shakir is a safer pick, but pretty low upside. Shakir was like consistently like a top 25 receiver, but very rarely was he ever top 15. And if you're only getting like 10 points per week, like that's fine, but it's not like moving the needle too much in best ball. Like I'd rather have Jaden Reed, who offers you like 5 games with over 20 points and maybe 5 games less than 10, and then a bunch of middling like 10, 12-point games, as opposed to Khalil Shakir, who maybe offers you like 2 games with over 20 points, and then pretty much everything else is like hovering between like 8 and 12 points all year long. Like Shakir is just a safe floor play. And in best ball, we do need to swing for the fence a little bit more. So Um, yeah, receiver is just drying up so much. I'm happy I favored it those last two picks out of necessity, but I would have loved to get Calvin Ridley. I may have even preferred Ridley over Olave in hindsight. Like I think Team 11 that went Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley came away at that turn with really good picks at receiver. I'm not taking Mahomes. Mahomes is not a safe pick, in my opinion, at all. I think Tyrone Tracy's solid here. I'd be fine with Tracy. But I'm also fine with Pollard and even Jaylen Warren to a certain extent. I'm going to pass on running back, get one on the way back around. And we'll go Matthew Golden. I do think Golden will have some true upside this season. I think Golden's going to have a good year. I think he'll be a good player. And it's really just because this position is dried up so much. I think Golden will be more valuable than Egbuka and Burden. So comparably, I think a better pick. And then if Travis Hunter is really a Brown, then yeah, I'd rather have Golden on my team. But otherwise, I would have gone Ayuk at pick 81. Taking a shot and hoping for the best on Ayuk, I think is worth it. 2 rounds cheaper than Juwan Jennings. Not like a huge discount, but in terms of contract, they pay him so much. They need Ayuk to work out. I don't think they want to be trading Ayuk. And obviously, if he sucks, that'd be a bummer. But I think it'll work out. I like Tony Pollard a lot. I think Pollard is set up for success. I mean, I mentioned this with Okonkwo. I mentioned it with Ridley. I think it applies with Pollard as well. I think all of the Titans' weapons are in really good shape to be heavy contributors in fantasy this season. Pollard had a good year. What did Pollard do? He did get banged up. There were a few games that he missed, but if he didn't miss, he only missed one game. He got banged up at the end of the season, had a few shortcomings, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different games. So that's pretty much half of his season with at least 80 yards rushing. He also had 5 rushing touchdowns, and he also caught 41 passes, a total of 1,300 yards on the season in 16 games. That's going to get the job done in round 8. That is a safe round 8 pick. When it comes to Aaron Jones, I'm worried about the touchdown production in his offense. They traded for Jordan Mason for a reason. Aaron Jones, much older. Aaron Jones scares me a little bit. Jaylen Warren should be fine, but also kind of struggles to score touchdowns. And I'm pretty convinced they're going to be drafting a running back in this year's draft. So I think Warren is going to have some competition. If Shedeur Sanders is not on the board at pick 21 for the Steelers, then they probably draft a running back that early. And in my mock draft, I did have them selecting Omarion Hampton. So that would really suck for Warren. Warren's a fine pick right now, but until I know for sure what his competition is, I would rather go Pollard because I felt like Pollard really established himself as the number 1 running back. Tyjae Spears was not a big enough threat for me to be worried about it. So we go Pollard. And from a floor standpoint, I do trust Pollard. There's some pop weeks when he does score a touchdown, and there's also plenty of weeks where he does offer you 80 to 100 yards from scrimmage. So I like Pollard. I think him and Tyrone Tracy are valuable picks at running back in this round. But it is a significant drop-off from the upside of David Montgomery. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and pretend like he's elite, but I do think in the 8th round, I'm comfortable taking Pollard. And boy, would I love for these next 2 teams to pass on Andrews. This team has a tight end, so I doubt he takes him. But pick 8 here, team 8, I should say, does not. So they probably snipe me, knowing that I've set up for this stack. But maybe they're in a generous mood. Maybe that doesn't happen. And if I do not get sniped, I will be going Mark Andrews for the second straight draft in round 9. God, he lets the entire clock go down just to take the top player. Damn. Of course that's what happened. Shit. This is pretty gross. Fuck. I'll take Brian Robinson. We passed on running back for a while. And until he got hurt, Brian Robinson Jr. was putting up solid touchdown production. I don't think they're going to be drafting a running back in Washington this year. I could be wrong, but I think for one more season, Brian Robinson's job security is fine. I don't think Eckler's going to be vulturing him on many touchdowns. So, not my favorite pick. Our gamble on Andrews did not work out. But last year, in that Commanders offense, Brian Robinson was rolling for a while. Until he got hurt, he was scoring a touchdown pretty much every single week. And in the Cliff Kingsbury offense, there is often a workhorse running back that is on pace for double-digit touchdowns. I believe that will stay consistent. And this is where Brian Robinson was being drafted last year, at least until he got hurt. It was a good pick. So I'm willing to bet on it, but damn, I wanted Andrews there. Really wanted Andrews. We have Lamar, so I think I'm going to pass on quarterback, get a little better value later on. Hope that maybe Jordan Love falls back around to us, stack him with Jaden Reed. And instead, we'll grab a tight end. I am completely off Kelce this year. And with Flacco back in Cleveland, I'm going to go David Njoku. That Flacco-Njoku connection was fucking insane. I like Njoku in this range. We could also go Evan Ingram. I'd be fine with that. But I really wanted Andrews. And now I'm kind of just thinking of like touchdown production. Like Ingram is not really a big touchdown guy. Ingram can go the entire season and only score like 1 or 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Njoku in best ball, if he stays healthy, paired with Flacco, that could be fucking awesome. That could be insane. So we'll go Njoku. Kind of a weird spot in the draft. Like the running back values have kind of dried up. You're kind of reaching on some players, hoping for the best. Wide receivers just gross. Gross as fuck. Like, do you really trust Marvin Mims? I don't. I do think Michael Pittman's kind of interesting. Last year he was a 3rd-round pick. Now he's a 10th-round pick. That's saying something. But Alec Pierce was better in fantasy than Michael Pittman last year. Like, that's shocking to say, but it is the truth. And definitely some cause for concern with Michael Pittman. But let's remind you of how this draft went. We went Malik Nabers in round 1, followed by Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, Lamar Jackson, Chris Olave, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., and David Njoku in round 10. So we're halfway done. We've got at least one of every position. We got a 1-3-5-1 build. And at least unlike last draft, earlier in this video, our wide receiver position is much better. Last time around, Golden was our 4th receiver. Now he's our 5th. And I see a good floor-ceiling combo with Olave and Jaden Reed. Neighbor's going to be in our lineup pretty much every single week. Adams very high upside with Stafford. So we're going to be targeting Stafford and maybe Jameis Winston at quarterback, unless Jordan Love is available with our next pick. But I think he just got picked. I think he just got taken. Yeah, he went pick 116 to a team that does not have him stacked up with anyone. So a naked Jordan Love, unstacked. Not my favorite way to do it. But they can do what they want. I'd prefer Purdy over Jordan Love. I'd also prefer Justin Herbert over Jordan Love. Team 4 who got Herbert at 124. That's a steal. But with Lamar, we're definitely not forced to grab quarterback. We can pass on that position. And I'm probably going to get sniped on Evan Ingram here. Watch it happen. The team that sniped us on Andrews probably snipes us on Evan Ingram. Oh, wow, they go Stroud. So we get Evan Ingram 13 picks past ADP. And if I didn't go Njoku with the last pick, I would have gone Evan Ingram. So I'm ecstatic to have him fall here and take him. That is a very safe pick. And while Isaiah Likely does stack up, I don't see Isaiah Likely being close to the value of Evan Ingram. The floor of Evan Ingram paired with the ceiling of Njoku is a really good combo. I feel pretty safe at tight end now with those two players. Because Evan Ingram could have like 130 targets next season and no touchdowns. Meanwhile, Njoku could miss like 4 or 5 games and score 12 touchdowns. Genuinely possible. Is it a guarantee? Of course not, but genuinely possible for Njoku. So that's a great value on Ingram. Very happy with that. And although he's unstacked, I will take it. I'm perfectly satisfied with that. But with 2 tight ends now, I will not be going Isaiah Likely. That's for sure. That is not the direction I will be taking at all. Our running back position's a little shaky. So we could double up on Titans running backs with Tyjae Spears, but I'd rather pass on that. I'd rather just bet that Pollard is the guy. And one of the last running backs I think could be drafted and offer day 1 RB1 value is Dylan Sampson. I could see a world where Sampson is also the running back that is drafted by the Cowboys, for instance, or maybe even the Steelers in round 3. I think he will be going in the 3rd round and offer some upside, but there's a chance he goes to like the Niners at pick 100 or whatever they have, and is completely behind the 8 ball and kind of screwed for some time. But Sampson, I do see some upside with some talent as a rookie running back, and I've taken Keenan Allen too much to be craving that pick again. But with 5 wide receivers already, I feel good enough where hitting running back with a high upside rookie is appealing enough to click that button. So that's our team so far. We have Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson, and Dylan Sampson. And then receiver, pretty strong. We got Neighbors, Adams, Olave, Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. And then tight end is pretty decent as well with Njoku and Ingram. So I like this team a little bit more than the last one. Obviously, running back is nowhere near as valuable. Nowhere near as strong on this team. But that doesn't mean we can't compete. We can definitely compete. And when you hit on later round running backs, that's usually a bigger path for success. Like, think of Kyren Williams 2 years ago, drafted in the final round, often undrafted, was a league-winning running back. So, hoping for the best. But Ford is also an interesting pick there. Garendo, one of the higher upside backup running backs. Garendo is pretty much just as valuable as Charbonnet, if not more. There's an argument to be made that Garendo is more likely to have more snaps next season than Charbonnet because Christian McCaffrey is no safe bet to be playing a full season. I'd bet on Kenneth Walker staying healthy more than I would Christian McCaffrey. So Garendo, if available in the next round, also an interesting pick. Might be taking him. But at the moment, Jerome Ford is the RB1 in Cleveland. So he's tempting. I do think they will be drafting someone in the third round, though, to compete with him. And if it's a guy like Cam Skattebo, Ford's going to lose his job. But maybe it's Dylan Sampson and it's more of an equal battle for that RB1 job. I would still probably expect Sampson to come out on top if that is the backfield rotation in Cleveland. So in a few days, we'll have answers. A week from today, we'll know exactly who's on which team. But that's the fun of drafting before the draft. You're taking some swings, hoping for the best. And while it might blow up in your face, it could actually be the gold mine that you're hoping to hit. So now that we have 4 running backs, we can probably move off that position. And I'd be happily drafting Stafford here to pair up with Adams. That's a very solid stack. I feel like I've been saying the word solid a lot lately, and that's a bit of a cop-out. I gotta stop saying that as much. But high upside stack with Adams and Stafford for sure. Not interested in Jalen Coker. Kind of interested in Dontavian Wicks, but I'd rather just go Jalen Noel. We're definitely passing on receiver with this pick. This team also has two quarterbacks, so pass on Stafford. He doesn't even have Puka, so yeah. Leave me Stafford, please. I'd be pretty upset if I had to settle for Cam Ward or Bryce Young. Sweet. Let's go. Yeah, the upgrade from Cooper Kupp to Davante Adams could really pay off for Stafford's year in fantasy, because the only thing missing from Stafford is touchdown production. There are way too many games from Stafford where he only has 1 touchdown. And now that there's Puka and Davante Adams, I could see both of them finish the year with 13 touchdowns. That's 26 right there. Maybe Higbee contributes, maybe a third receiver gets involved. Like if, let's say, Jordan Whittington had like a Demarcus Robinson type of season with like 8 touchdowns, I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility where Stafford approaches 40 touchdowns on the year. If Stafford throws 30, 35 touchdowns next season, would not shock me at all. So stacking him up with Davante Adams, I think, is a good move. And in round 13, behind quarterbacks like Tua, Dak, and Penix, there's a lot of unknowns there. I know that Stafford doesn't run at all, but he's still good enough of a thrower where I think this is a very safe, valuable pick. Obviously, the stack makes it worth my while. So that's pretty good. Man, it's really hard for me not to draft Rachaad White, but I do it every single time. So let's ignore it. But this is like clearly the pick I want to be making. Instead, I'm going to go Jalen Noel, a rookie I really like. And best case scenario, he's drafted to a team like the Chargers, where he's viable to be their number 2 receiver immediately. I could definitely see that happen. That is what I mocked in my draft late last week. And he's one of my favorite rookies at this position. So we'll take him. Maybe J.K. Dobbins falls all the way back around. Extremely unlikely, but by grabbing receiver, there's a bit more of a focus on that since we've started that run. 3 straight receivers. And maybe one of these running backs does fall. Perhaps we get a running back to fall to us. Running backs I'm comfortable drafting here. They're all backups, so you don't know what you're getting. But obviously Rachaad White. Algier, not a bad pick. I do like Blake Corum. I still think there's a really high value associated with Corum. Like his path for success is easy to envision all you need is one injury to Kyron Williams, and bam, Corum is a workhorse. Jalen Wright should be okay, but Devon Achane is a workhorse sometimes, so a little risky. Shooby dooby goes J.K. Dobbins, Rachaad White. Wow, he passed on running back for a long time. Rolling with Scadaboo, Tyjae Spears, J.K. Dobbins, Rachaad White. A little risky there, but not bad. I would not triple up on tight end this early. That feels misguided. But to fall into Rachaad White, and perhaps if J.K. Dobbins goes back to the Chargers, that's not bad. Could work out. But I like Corum. I like Braylon Allen. Even Eckler's kind of tempting, but Eckler just doesn't score touchdowns very often, so that's why I'll probably pass, especially if I already have Brian Robinson Jr. So I'll ignore that. But I would love Blake Corum here. If we have to go Damien Martinez, I'd be a bit disappointed. Might just pivot to receiver if we get sniped on Corum. I do like Ollie Gordon, but I think he's going to be drafted in like the 4th round, and at that point, the odds he contributes in his rookie season are pretty slim, so that's unfortunate. The rookie running backs left on the board, it's kind of unlikely that they're drafted in the top 100. If they're drafted in round 3, they have a chance to contribute rookie season, but odds are if they fall to the 4th round, they're not going to be doing that much. But Blake Corum is available, so we will take him. Not a heavy pass catcher, but obviously does add to our LA Rams stack. So we'll see what happens. But in order for this pick to work out, we need Kyron Williams to miss some time. That's what we need for Blake Corum to be a viable contributor on our team. But so far, I like this roster. I like it a lot. I'm very emboldened with Jalen Noel. I think he has some true upside immediately. It's just dependent on landing spot, but I really envision him going late 2nd round, and that's the bread and butter of some of these later rookie picks at receiver. We do see a bit of a run on rookies. We have Kyle Williams, Elik Ayamanor. Did I draft both of them in the last one? I think I drafted both of them. So you've seen me take them. I do like them. It's getting a bit gross here, though. Pretty effing gross. So I don't want to go Wandale. I don't want to go Jack Betch. Like, Wandale did have 140 targets last year, but only 3 touchdowns, only 700 yards. Like, not in best ball. I don't think that's a needed pick. I'll go Jalen Royals. The last of this rookie tier that I trust. Like, once you pass like the big 4 of the rookie receivers, I guess big 5 counting Travis Hunter. In this draft, the last one to come off the board was Matthew Golden. There's a big drop off, and the only ones I'm like comfortable betting on this season, Trey Harris is okay, but not my favorite. I do like Jaden Higgins. Where did Higgins go? He went pick 119, so a little bit more pricey than the rest of them. But then I really like Jalen Noel. I'm comfortable with Kyle Williams. I think he's valuable. I'm also comfortable with Ayamanor. And then the last one I'm really comfortable with, I think has some true talent and upside, would be Jalen Royals. Steve Smith really likes Jalen Royals. I think he's a good option and going to be going in that late round 2, top of round 3. Like, one of those receivers will fall to the Chiefs at pick 66 at the top of round 3. They're going to be taking one of them, if not at the tail end of the 2nd round. So that's the landing spot I want to be chasing. And those are the names that come into my thinking when I'm considering these rookies. Like, the right landing spot and one of these names will be vaulting up the board, like potentially like by like 5 rounds. Like, if they get the right spot, like let's say it's the Chargers or the Commanders, like they might be going in the same range as Keon Coleman, Christian Kirk, Josh Downs, Jalen McMillan. There's a chance they move up into the top 100. So it's worth taking that swing. But now we have 7 receivers. We'll probably draft an 8th, but I feel really comfortable with the talent I have. Again, pretty comfortable with my tight end core of Njoku and Ingram. High upside, high floor. And they have the same ADP, but we got Ingram a full round later, even though we slightly reached on Njoku. That's a good pair. And then running back is still kind of shaky, but quarterback, obviously with Lamar, we're in contention automatically. And then there's Stafford paired up with Devontae Adams. So there's Justice Hill here. That's kind of interesting. Justice Hill actually had a pretty good season, 106 points, but not used enough for me to be dying to take him. I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell instead. Mitchell struggles with injuries, but when he's healthy, he gets the ball. And obviously that Chiefs backfield is pretty much up for grabs. I'm worried that Pacheco is never going to be the same. He broke his leg. Like, it's not a shock at all that he was washed coming back. But they brought in Mitchell for a reason. They're going to have a committee. There's going to be weeks where Mitchell does nothing, but there's also going to be some weeks where I think Mitchell will really contribute. So we went with Kareem Hunt in the last draft instead, but in the same logic, betting on a Chiefs running back this late is a fine decision that I'm comfortable with. So we do take him. I kind of want to also pair him up with Kareem Hunt, but we have 6 running backs. I'm not going to be drafting a 7th. I think I'm going to call it at 6. We got 2 tight ends. We'll probably need another one. And interestingly, Tyler Higbee only played 3 games last year, but did score 2 touchdowns. Higbee's kind of interesting. I would have considered Okonkwo there, but he did get sniped. I think I'm going to pass on receiver, and we're looking at quarterback, running back, and tight end. I'm going to go Tyler Higbee. Should play a full year. We were mentioning, we're hoping that Stafford can have a 35 touchdown type of year. And there's a chance that Higbee is that third weapon in that offense. So I'll take Higbee. We're looking for another quarterback. We have Lamar and Stafford. And I'm probably going to be targeting Jameis Winston, who likely goes undrafted. But I do believe Winston will be getting some starts instead of Russell Wilson. There's a slight chance that they do draft Shedeur Sanders, and if that happens, we are fucked. But that's fine. I'm willing to take that gamble. Doing it at the tail end of the draft in the final 2 rounds, it's not punitive. Like, typically these drafts are only 18 rounds, so you're expecting that some of these players you're taking offer you a bagel. So we're grabbing a quarterback, most likely Jameis Winston, to stack up with Malik Nabers. And then we have 7 receivers. We'll be drafting an 8th as well. So that's what we're looking at so far. We could go Tutu Atwell. I probably will not go Tutu Atwell, but Gabe Davis has some appeal, is paid highly, but by a different regime. But he is that best ball type of player where when he does contribute, it's deep down the field. How many games did Gabe Davis even play last year? It's Gabriel. Not Gabe on the official site. It's Gabriel. All right, so in 2024, he actually played most of the season. He had 1 week with 2 touchdowns. Otherwise, only week 1 was he really even, like, even considered valuable, and even that, not really. 62 yards, 3 catches is not many fantasy points. So that could bite me in the ass. I'm not dying to go in that direction. We could go Jordan Whittington. That's interesting. But at this point, we're just like praying that they're the third receiver. But that's the thing about that Rams offense. There are 3 receivers that stay on the field all the time. So whether it's Tutu Atwell or Jordan Whittington, we do not know. But there is some upside. It does correlate. So I'll probably go Jordan Whittington. I could also consider Marquez Valdez-Scantling in Seattle. Deep threat receiver. Darnold can chuck it. But can't say I'm dying to draft him. Is there anyone else? There's Parker Washington, Kayshon Boutte. What about the Patriots? Jalen Polk is still available. I was a big fan of Polk last year, and he did nothing. But right when he was starting to do something, he did get hurt. So I can also consider Jalen Polk. I might just take Winston here and then think about it a little more with our next pick. But nah, we're going to take a gamble on Jordan Whittington. Just for the stack. We have good receivers, so we're not expecting a ton of contribution with our 8th guy, but what we're hoping for is that he turns into Demarcus Robinson. Jordan Whittington could be this year's Demarcus Robinson. Because I kind of find it hard to believe that it's going to be Tutu Atwell. Little tough to fully believe in Tutu Atwell. Although he did just get paid $10 million. I don't know about that. So we go Whittington in year 2. He played well in the preseason last year, but didn't really do much in the regular season. So could be a complete bust, but anyone at this point could be an absolute bust. I would consider Malik Washington a little bit. Perhaps Curtis Samuel, but probably not. Christian Watson probably misses like almost the entire year. There is a world where Malachi Corley actually has a decent season. But in general, Justin Fields does not keep multiple receivers viable. So that's probably not going to work out. Anyways, I know where I'm going with this last pick. We're going with Jameis Winston. And we're hoping that Russell Wilson gets benched early and we get more than 10 games of viability out of Jameis Winston, because when he pops off, he has that 30-point upside. He really does. So I don't feel like you have to take a quarterback this late, but I do like to do it. And a guy like Jameis Winston has that ceiling I might be chasing. So a reminder of the team. I'll take a look at the comment section right after. But Lamar, Matthew Stafford, and Jameis Winston, they're all stacked up with different options. Lamar mainly with just Derrick Henry, but still technically a stack. At running back, we have Henry as our stud, then Pollard, Brian Robinson, Dylan Sampson, Blake Corum, and Elijah Mitchell. So for this to really work out at running back, we do need Kyren Williams to go down or Dylan Sampson to just totally hit, or perhaps Elijah Mitchell to have a resurgence. But one of these late round running backs has to work out, because I doubt that the combo of Pollard and Brian Robinson Jr. keeps me viable all year. But it is what it is. At wide receiver, we have Malik Neighbors, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Jaden Reed, then Matthew Golden, Jalen Noel, and Jalen Royals. At least one of these receivers will really work out. I think there's a world where 2 of them work out, and if all 3 hit, then we are living at receiver, and Jordan Whittington is probably irrelevant for this roster. But then at tight end, Njoku, Ingram, and Higbee, the stack is why I'm interested in Higbee. He did have a decent final 2 games last season, but we do have 6 likes, 10 people watching. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do one more. I would consider one more. But Mr. Grapefruit, he has said, I did a little board where some jackass took Tyree Jackson tight end in the 5th round and Kareem Hunt in the 7th, but drafted normal everywhere else. It stinks when people ruin the draft for others. DraftKings is bad for that. Yeah, that's one upside of Underdog, where if that does happen and it's like a seriously like you know, if it really skews everything, then like they will refund your money and they will nullify the draft and it just doesn't count. You get your money back. But if it doesn't happen, then I mean, it's not fun to see, but at the same time, like it does increase your chances of coming out there with a win. You know, like if there's someone that really has no idea what the fuck they're doing, there is a shot that, you know, it's just one more team that you don't have to worry about. Instead of advancing 4 out of 12, now you're advancing 4 out of 11, so to speak. So I don't know why people do that. It's kind of a shame and a bummer, but like it does kind of help you out a little bit. So as long as it doesn't get thrown out, it's not the end of the world, but not fun to see. That's for sure. But I'm gonna do one more. I'm in the mood for it. This will be the last one. This will be the last one. We'll do one more. But if you have been watching this long, want to dip, no offense taken. Obviously, if you want to join, there are 9 spots left. We are in a little board $3 entry. This will be the last one. This will definitely be the last one. But this tournament dropped today, so I kind of have a bit of a hankering to do some more of these. But this live stream is going a bit long. We're already at an hour 50, so I doubt this will help me on the clickbait when it's posted. Oh, you want to watch this 3-hour live stream? Probably not, but three different drafts. So we'll hopefully get a higher pick, and we have the other side of the board, and have a different type of strategy involved. But this one's filling. We're already down to 2 spots left. So if you do want to join me, now's your chance. Only 1 person remaining, and we'll be starting very soon. But Mr. Grapefruit, that's a great point to always finish your draft too and never bail. I agree. Yeah. Having someone that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing and kind of takes this, as a joke, as long as it doesn't throw out the draft, I'm fine with that. Like if we're doing a mock draft, like that's annoying. Like I want to try and get something out of it and learn some stuff and have it be more legit. But if there's money on the line and people are dipping, like go ahead and burn this $3. If that's really what you want, it increases my chances of coming out here with some money. So don't know why people do that. Kind of weird, but it's their decision. And if they want to laugh about it in their own little bubble, go ahead and be delusional. But we do get pick 6. It's the same pick as the first draft in this live stream. So we will be going in a different direction. I will not be taking CeeDee Lamb, but kind of a bummer. We get another pick like we did an hour ago. So I'm going to get some water. I'll be back in 15 seconds. Stay tight. This draft will be underway very soon. Can y'all see Leia in the background? She's right behind me. She's right there. My cat is present. She's just blocked by me in the frame. But nope, we don't need the intro song. But ooh, interesting. We see 3 straight receivers come off the board, so we will be getting a running back here. That's dope. If it's Jahmyr Gibbs, I'll happily take Gibbs at pick 6. I would have loved Bijan. We do not get Bijan, but we're going in a different direction. Let's take Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's do it. Sweet. Usually goes at pick 5, so not like a big difference, but still different than our first draft at pick 6, and this will be a different strategy. So I'll probably be hammering receiver a lot in these next coming drafts, in the next coming rounds. Happy to have Gibbs instead of Puka or one of these other receivers. But like I said earlier, I don't really think there's a bad pick in the first round. They're all fine. I think it's just how you approach the rest of your roster build in terms of whether or not it's a mistake to take certain people. But happy with Gibbs at pick 6 just to mix it up. So we get the draft on Thursday. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching, like, who's a player you are really excited to see where he falls. Like, obviously there's guys like Genty and, Travis Hunter, some of the studs, but beyond the top 10 picks, who are some players you're really like hoping for on your team? Let me know what fan base you align with and which position you think they need the most. Let's try and keep it to offense for the sake of fantasy, but who are you guys like really hopeful for falls into your lap on your favorite team? Or even if it's not your favorite team, like where would you like someone to go for the sake of landing spot? Like if you told me Omarion Hampton fell with the Bears, I think that'd be fucking awesome. Like Hampton's draft price would 100% be justified. Like that's kind of something I'd like to see. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would like to see it. Ooh. This is kind of gross, but I did have this conversation earlier. I do think A.J. Brown is the correct pick at receiver. So given that's what we're looking at without a receiver on this team yet, we'll go A.J. Brown. We'll take him. But I just can't really get behind this round 2 Bowers and McBride value. Like I'm going to say it now. I'm not going to be drafting a lot of them. If they fall to me at the back half of the second, like, all right, at that point, fine, just to have a few of them. But it's not a pick I feel really good about. And this is interesting. Achane goes at 21. Then we have Taylor Bucky Irving. Bit more of a focus on running back so far. But I guess it's not that different than in general. I feel like the first few rounds are now relatively balanced. Like last year it was like maybe only 5 running backs were taken at this point. Now we're looking at 9 of them. The 10th already comes off the board. It's probably more appropriate that running back gets a bit more valued coming off of last season. Kind of overcorrected. Last year we were looking at like running back 10 coming off the board. I feel like it was also Josh Jacobs, and it was like in the 4th or 5th round. Like you could get Jacobs at pick 58 sometimes. Like running back was just so undervalued. Kind of shocking. But we need receiver at this pick, so I'm happy to see them falling. We're still going to get a good option. I'd prefer DJ Moore. But if we have to go Adams again, I'd be fine with it. I do not want to take Garrett Wilson. I do not want to bet on Justin Fields. Sweet. We see Harrison come off the board. I think DJ Moore is a much better pick than Marvin Harrison. I will happily bet on Ben Johnson. Happy to do that. Especially if they don't bring back Keenan Allen or like draft any receiver, like that Bears offense could explode in production. So now we're set up for a potential Jalen Hurts stack, potential Caleb Williams stack. And we'll see if Hurts is on the board at pick 43, but I think I'm probably going to pass on Hurts. the receiver values, by the time we hit round 8, like it feels like they're just terrible. It feels like once you hit pick 90, there's no good receivers that you really trust. So, because we took a stud in Gibbs, I'm gonna approach it like I did this last draft, the second one where we took Henry and then kind of ignored the position for a while. I'm gonna hammer receiver for the most part. We'll try and gamble that Hurts comes back to us in round 5. He has an ADP of 46. We're picking at 43. We could just take him, but I might just go Devontae Smith and then prevent another stack candidate. I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, let's go Devontae Smith. We got both Eagles receivers. There isn't a single team with a quarterback yet, but things feel kind of weird in this draft with that run on running back. I kind of feel like this side of the board is going to be a bit strange. So let's gamble on it. If it happens, we will gladly take Jalen Hurts. Odds are it doesn't happen, but at the very least, every single week I'm getting like 80 yards and a touchdown from one of these Eagles receivers. They will have value on a consistent basis. So, Devontae Smith is one of the better receivers in this round. That's for sure. I don't fully trust Rome Odunze. I don't fully trust Tet McMillan. I think landing spot could really screw you over. I'd rather go Courtland Sutton and Chris Godwin. And then I even kind of feel like Calvin Ridley is slept on. But there's some weird picks. Strange picks all over the place. But so far, Hurts is still on the board. We need 3 teams to pass on him. That'd be fucking dope. Oh, that'd be sweet. Let it happen. If not, probably go Metcalf, but probably gets taken as well. Nah. The dream doesn't pan out. Hurts goes pick 51. Pretty close. I mean, only 2 picks further would have worked out, but nope. No cigar. All right. Disappointment is setting in, but might consider Travion Henderson. No, I'll take Metcalf. I'll take Metcalf for sure. When you get paid that much, like I know there's no quarterback right now there, but they're gonna have someone. You know, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Even if it's Mason Rudolph, like you're gonna get a lot of targets to Metcalf. They paid him way too much money to not make that work out. So he's the type of guy where you might have like a bunch of mediocre games, but when he does pop, you do have some really high upside. So unfortunate we don't get the quarterback stack that we were hoping for, but it could be much worse. So now we're probably trying to stack Caleb Williams. That'll be the target. So we take Metcalf, then Waddle, Calvin Ridley at 56. Chuba Hubbard, Joe Mixon, Chris Olave, Deebo Samuel, Jaden Reed. I do like Jerry Jeudy. Juwan Jennings is viable, not a bad pick. But odds are we're probably taking running back at this point. I think we've ignored it for 4 rounds. And this does kind of have like that next solid tier of options. Like, even you know what you're getting with these players. There's a world where Najee does pay off as like a top 12 running back if all the touchdowns hit, but there's also a world where he is barely top 20, just like last year. Not my favorite pick, but I'd be fine to settle on him. Jeudy goes, so yeah, I will go most likely. Well, we have Gibbs, so we can go Laporta. We can also grab Montgomery. Shit. I'll go Kamara. He falls 7 picks here. I'll take Kamara. Had a good season last year. That's a little risky, but I do think Kellen Moore can make this work out. It's telling me it's choppy. Are we having some technical issues? Let me know in the chat if this is going in and out. It looks like I have some live stream problems. It looks to me like it's not rolling. If you can hear me and I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comment section. But I am getting a warning message from YouTube that the stream quality has diminished and is not the same. So might just call it quits here. I think I will. And in case this is still recording, thank you so much for watching. It's been fun. Go ahead and check this out if you just tuned in. We did a few other drafts, but for the moment, YouTube is telling me that the quality has significantly fallen off. But oh, now it's back. Seems like it's back. I'm gonna stick with it. We'll stick with it. Yeah, it says good connection now. So hope that wasn't a big problem. I do not know what it looks like on your end all of the time. So apologies if that did get a little choppy, but we are back on the stream. Seems like it's all in good shape. OBS. I mean, we've been running for over 2 hours. We'll give it a little break. Not their fault. But we could go Pickens here. We could go Khalil Shakir. We could also go Caleb Johnson. But I've mentioned it time and time again. This receiver position just dries up so fast. We're going to go Khalil Shakir. Feels like he's the top option for Josh Allen at the moment. Agrees to a 4-year extension as well. So, yeah, let's bet on him. Safety net, having him on the roster. There's going to be a week or two, probably more than just 2, but a handful of weeks where one of these Eagles receivers doesn't work out. Metcalf may not pan out that often, and Shakir has a very high floor on a week-to-week basis. So he is a top 30 receiver for sure, and at this point we're drafting receiver 40. So I do think Shakir has that safety valve viability. I do trust him enough to be taking him and somewhat comfortable about his production profile. So we do go Shakir because I do think a floor candidate at receiver is worth it given some of the risk we took on this build. Like the last round or the previous draft, I did kind of tell you like, yeah, there's a little bit of disappointment taking Shakir. Now here I am taking him, but I think it would have been unwise to double up on Steelers receivers. Like stacking up Metcalf and Pickens, not knowing who their quarterback is at all, is not something I want to be doing. Ayuk, I'd rather get him at a value. Like I prefer him to fall a little bit. I think Shakir is much safer than Ayuk. And then we've taken Golden in back-to-back drafts. We don't know his landing spot yet, so that could blow up in our face. And then Luther Burden also don't know the landing spot. I don't trust Cooper Kupp very much. So Khalil Shakir, safe pick. Feels a bit bust-proof, but maybe not the highest upside of anyone we could have taken in this round instead. But I'm fine with him at this price point. And for the sake of our team, I think it does fit. Diminished risk level with Khalil Shakir. So if we do go Pollard like we did last time around, it would be better as our third running back, but he does get sniped and Stevenson comes off. I don't think I'm going to take Warren. I'm going to grab that DJ Moore stack. We're going to go Caleb Williams. And although TJ Hawkinson is falling, it's only 6 picks. It's not the end of the world. I'd much rather just have the stack and never have to worry about it. This tier of quarterback does kind of fall off beyond this round. So we will go Caleb Williams stacked up with DJ Moore. We missed on the Jalen Hurts stack, but we still have plenty of viability with this Bears combo. And I trust Ben Johnson. I really do. So Caleb Williams offers some rushing upside. He almost had 500 rushing yards last year. And if that repeats or even goes up, then he will pay off at this price. Because the interceptions are... Actually, the interceptions might increase, but the sacks are going to decrease, and the touchdowns are also going to increase as well. I think he only had like 20 touchdowns. I think that is much closer to 30, if not even higher this season. I'm still a believer in Caleb Williams. A rough rookie season, but did have a few blow-up games, and with a new head coach and offensive system, and a hopefully good offensive line. They did upgrade it tremendously in free agency and trades. I think Caleb will be just fine. Not going to panic after his rookie season. Because in terms of rushing value, other than Bo Nix, there's not many players you actually get any rushing value with. Obviously Fields, but beyond that, like Herbert might luck into like 300 yards rushing. Same with Drake May. Nah, May could offer like 400. But after that, what does J.J. McCarthy offer? I have no idea. Probably not much. And while Bryce Young did have some rushing value, it was kind of dependent on rushing touchdowns, and I wouldn't really want to bet on it too much either. So, yeah, grab a quarterback that can run the ball, that stacks up with our wide receiver 2. Move on the next round. We'll be happy with that decision. So we have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 5 receivers. And maybe we draft Mark Andrews again. I don't think I want to bet on Tyler Warren. Because, like, latest he falls is probably like the Colts. And I don't think there's really a good landing spot other than maybe the Jets. And even that isn't that inspiring. So I'm a bit worried about where Tyler Warren ends up playing next season. Could be pretty dicey. Earlier in this draft, I took Kamara instead of Laporta. And I kind of wanted to go Laporta with a shot at Goff. But we still have Jahmyr Gibbs, so that is technically a stacking option. But with the experience of doing 2 drafts before this, we've been in a rough spot at running backs. I'm going to go Cam Skattebo. And I do think he has the viability to be a contributing RB1 in that rookie season. I do think Scadaboo's really talented. And while he might fall to the third round in the draft, even if he does, I still think he'll be in line to have a big job. I think the role for him will be tremendous as a rookie. So I have him mocked to go to the Browns and be the Nick Chubb replacement. And there's a chance he gets taken even higher than that in the second round. And then that opens the door for potentially the Chargers taking him. That'd be fucking awesome. I think Scadaboo's going to have a really consistent role next year. So I do not feel comfortable with Pacheco. I do not feel very comfortable with Etienne or Charbonnet, let alone Mason. We reached on Brian Robinson Jr. in the last draft, and I didn't feel great about that. So let's just go Scadaboo. And with this trio, there's a chance I only end up drafting 5 of them. There's a chance I'm comfortable enough with the depth later on that we don't need to draft 6. But in general, I'm drafting like 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 receivers, and then another 3 tight ends. Maybe we mix it up and only go with 5 running backs this time. But we can't ignore quarterback for too long. With Caleb as our QB1, I don't want to be relying on round 20 Jameis Winston like I did in the last one. So we'll probably hit that position again soon, but we have yet to draft a tight end. I'm definitely looking at Justin Herbert here if he's on the board. Probably get sniped. There's 3 teams with only one quarterback so far. Granted, they have Lamar, Josh Allen, and Kyler Murray. The Lamar and Josh Allen team might not be dying to take him, and then I don't think anyone has McConkey on their team. So we would be sniping Team 5, but that's not my problem. That's their problem. I'd be interested in Herbert here, and then maybe go for like Colston Loveland. Yeah, I'm going to go Herbert. While Pittman is tempting, that offense just scares the shit out of me, and I really have no idea what their receivers are going to be offering on a week-to-week basis. So I will go Herbert. He does have top 10 upside, did have some viable weeks, and I do still think there are some decent stacking options with him. As this draft continues, we could go Quentin Johnston. We could also go Mike Williams. And then I'm also considering in the next round going Colston Loveland. Because if Loveland is on the board when the Chargers are picking at 22, I do think that's the direction they're going. I don't see Jim Harbaugh passing on such a good weapon like Loveland. So they need tight end. They can't just roll with Tyler Conklin, and having Herbert shores up quarterback in a way where now I can risk that round 20 quarterback like I have been doing. I can risk it and feel good enough with Caleb and Herbert where I will be competing. So happy with that, but still no tight end on this team. I think that has to be the next pick. We could go Njoku, we could go Kraft, but based on how it's been set up on this roster, I'm going to go Loveland. Hope he's drafted to the Chargers, and then we'll be targeting Cole Kmet to pair up with Caleb Williams even later. So that's what I'm hoping is going to be the pick. Colston Loveland. But if not, we probably go running back. Because I think receivers just wash at this point. I mean, Pittman's falling. If Pittman falls to 126, we did get sniped on Loveland. So, yeah, maybe that's going to be the move. Pittman gets taken, though. Yeah. No, nothing falls how we want it to. Nothing's ever ideal. Nothing's ever perfect. Can't catch a break, but I do like Bigsby. I actually prefer Bigsby over ETN. It's a new coach, though, so things could really be shaken up. But ETN was very disappointing, and Bigsby started to take his job. So I kind of like Bigsby. I almost went Jaden Higgins, though. Damn. All right, we'll go Tucker Kraft just because we need tight end really badly. And given the running backs I have, I don't think I am that desperate where I'm going to go Bigsby. Let's grab Tucker Kraft. He was a top 10 tight end last year. I am still worried about Luke Musgrave and that committee they kind of have at the position, but it seems like over the last year and a half, Tucker Kraft has really emerged as the better fantasy option over Musgrave. But if it pivots back in favor of him, I wouldn't be that shocked. Damn, I'm pissed that Team 1 took Loveland. That is a big bummer. Rough. So here's the team. In round 1 at pick 6, we take Jahmyr Gibbs. And then in round 6, we go Alvin Kamara. Round 9, we go Cam Skattebo. And for the most part, we've only been taking receivers the rest of the way. We went A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf in rounds 2 through 5. And then in round 7, we went Khalil Shakir. Then we pivoted off that position for 4 straight rounds. We go Caleb Williams and Justin Herbert. And we're going to be trying to stack up Herbert the rest of the way with guys like Quentin Johnston, Mike Williams, and perhaps some rookies that we hope land in the right spot. But we also have Tucker Kraft. Not my favorite pick, but it is what it is. And this team is solid enough to where I think it will compete. And remember, we only need to finish top 4 to be advancing. And then beyond that point, it's just the luck of the draw, hoping to advance week after week after that point. But I do think this has a shot to be a top 4 team in this 12-team pod. Receivers strong enough where we will be competing. That's for sure. So with this next pick, we'll consider Quentin Johnston. I'm also going to consider Trey Benson, Romeo Doubs, Keenan Allen, and Jerome Ford. But perhaps Dalton Kincaid is also in the conversation. Kincaid was a big letdown last season, but he still has a lot of upside. Keenan Allen gets taken. Shit. We'll go Kincaid. We'll take Kincaid. I don't feel confident enough with just Tucker Kraft and Cole Kmet. I would like to have another swing on one of those high upside guys. So we have Kincaid. We'll be targeting Cole Kmet. But at some point, we got to pivot back to receiver and running back. But I do think Penix is kind of interesting. Like, there's a world where Michael Penix actually really works out. But it feels like a bit more of a Bijan season than like a Drake London season. And you know Kyle Pitts is always a disappointment. So makes a lot of sense why he's going this late. But we got sniped on both QJ and Keenan. That's a bummer. What a bummer. Man, receivers just so ugly at this point. Receivers dried up fast. It's why I never regret these heavy receiver strategies, like especially when you look at the names beyond pick 90. It gets desperate fast. And that's why I favor the rookies. Like some of those rookies are really going to pan out. Whereas is Xavier Legette going to do anything? I doubt it. I don't feel confident with that. Dobbs kind of feels slept on, but could Adam Thielen get hurt week 3 and retire? That's definitely possible. Definitely possible, but ooh, Benson gets sniped. Bummer. Damn it. Oh, that's rough. I guess Javonte Williams? Oh, fuck. This is gross. I like RJ Harvey. We're going to go RJ Harvey. I don't want Tyjae Spears. Not on this team. Ugh. That was a gross fucking pick. RJ Harvey played 5 years in college, so there's a chance he falls to the 4th round and does nothing. But because of all that experience in college, I also think he's equipped in the pass protection game enough where he will be on the field. And in my mock draft, I have him going to the Steelers in the 3rd round. That's kind of an ideal landing spot for him. Like, oh wait, no, I have him going to. I think the Texans. I forget, but I think he's going to go in round 3. Daniel Jeremiah really likes him. I think he has some good tape. I like his stats, and because he's one of the older running backs in the class, I think when he gets drafted, he's going to be more on the field than some of these other guys, like perhaps Devin Neal, who I don't know if I trust as much in terms of a complete game. So hopefully I get a good landing spot, but yeah, swinging on these rookies with no guarantees is rough. Damn, Cole Kmet goes 157. That's a bummer. I thought about taking him with my last pick, but his ADP is like 170. The team that took Cole Kmet reached on him by 14 picks, and if they were not at the turn, then they may not have done that. So that is a big bummer. Rather disappointing. That kind of sucks. But at least we do have Dalton Kincaid. So the cushion is there. But Kincaid was disappointing as well last year. So a little rough. A little shaky. Noel gets sniped. So the decision is pretty easy for me. It was between Rachaad White and Jalen Noel. I know I have Javonte queued up here, but I don't want to bet on Javonte. I think he will be replaced as the starter in Dallas. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody's getting a steal, falling to them even further, but I'm not that excited about Javonte Williams. I'd much rather just take Rachaad White. I've been drafting the hell out of Rachaad White all off season up to this point. I'm not going to change. Round 14, Rachaad White feels much safer than Javonte Williams, even as he falls like almost 20 picks here. ADP 147. He's still on the board at 166. There he goes, 167. He falls exactly 20 picks. So at running back, we have Gibbs, Kamara, Scadaboo, RJ Harvey, and Rachaad White. I think because we've ignored receiver and it's starting to get even more disgusting, we're definitely drafting 3 tight ends. We'll draft a third quarterback, but I think I'm going to call it done at 5 running backs. I think I'm going to pass. Unless we get like a really, really compelling option well past ADP, I think I'm going to pass on running back the rest of the way. We have 6 more picks, and that means we're probably going to go 9 receivers. At least 3 of them will be wide receivers. So, Coker is falling, but I don't really trust Coker. I don't trust any Panthers receiver. I think they're going to be drafting Tet McMillan at pick 8. So they're all going to lose some viability. Josh Palmer in Buffalo. That's really crowded. We already have Shakir and Kincaid. I'm probably not going to go with Josh Palmer. Alec Pierce is interesting, though. Pierce had a hell of a season. And we know that connection with Anthony Richardson deep down the field can work out. So I'll consider Alec Pierce. Not a safe selection, but could be much worse. But we do need another quarterback. And right now, Sam Darnold is falling. There's no other quarterback option like Darnold the rest of the way. We'll go to Sam Darnold. We'll go Darnold. Nothing stacks up with him, so kind of a random pick, but just best quarterback available. Yeah, I can't say I like this team as much as some of the ones we drafted earlier in this video. Some of these picks are getting a bit stale, but if Darnold has the season he had last year, then this pick is a fucking smash. This pick will work out if he has the season he had last year. Obviously, that's not going to happen. There's no way he puts up the numbers he put up with Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings in Seattle. There's a chance he's Matt Flynn. There's a chance he does jack fucking shit. And I do think they're going to be drafting a rookie quarterback in this draft. There's a chance Darnold is Matt Flynn where he signs the deal in Seattle and gets replaced by Russell Wilson or whoever the equivalent is. Like, whether that's Jalen Milroe or, someone else. I could see Darnold never have any value again. If it's not the right situation, we've never seen Darnold actually really play well without a great coach. And I don't know if that new offensive coordinator in Seattle is really that trustworthy. Like, he did have a decent season with the Saints for a while, but it's not like they won a bunch of games. And a lot of free agent quarterbacks sometimes don't pan out entirely, especially someone with the track record of Darnold. That's a risky signing by the Seahawks. If it turns into Matt Flynn 2.0, that'd be hilarious. But ideally, it's because they also have Russell Wilson 2.0. So good luck to the Seahawks, but yikes. Ertz probably goes down with injury, but fuck it, he had 7 touchdowns last year. If Ben Sennett does not overtake him, he's still interesting. So we might just finish this draft out with 4 straight receiver picks. We might hammer that position. We have not drafted a receiver since round 7. Thankfully, we have 5 that we chose early on, but we are firmly behind the 8 ball at wide receiver. So we're going to take some big swings the rest of the way here, but I think receiver is the only direction I can really go in. Based on this build, let's remind you of the team. At quarterback, we have Caleb Williams stacked up with DJ Moore. We missed out on the Cole Kmet stack. And then we have Justin Herbert currently unstacked. We will grab Mike Williams in a little bit, that's for sure. But currently unstacked Justin Herbert. Darnold is also unstacked, so not good. And then at running back, we are decent there. We have Gibbs, Kamara, Scattaboo, RJ Harvey. Fingers crossed on Harvey. But then Rachaad White, one of my favorite late round picks at the position. Tight end, somewhat viable with Tucker Kraft, Dalton Kincaid, and Zach Ertz, but something needs to break right in order for us to compete. And then at wide receiver, we have both Eagles receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and we also have DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, and Khalil Shakir. This feels like a 9-receiver team. Yeah. We will be hammering receiver the rest of the way. We are still drafting, Cashby. We are still drafting. It is the last one, though, on the live stream. It's been 2.5 hours, pretty much, since this stream started. 3 different teams. It's because they just dropped this tournament. I gotta wet my beak. Knowing that there are no teams in this tournament drafted a month ago when prices were much cheaper, that's why I am hitting it hard today. Damn, this is so gross. I think I have to go Amari Cooper. I would consider Isaiah Bond, but I think there's higher upside with Amari Cooper. Let's go Amari Cooper. Might do nothing, but this is the problem with waiting on the position for so long. Gonna do a recap. Which one's my favorite team? Yeah, let's take a look at the board. Let's see who has a really good team. Team 1, Jamar Chase, Josh Jacobs, Kyren Williams, Burrow, Godwin, Myers, Connor, Darnell Mooney, Christian Kirk, Njoku, Loveland, Tua, Thielen, Geno. Team 1 is not bad. Not bad at all. Team 2, little thin at receiver, like Josh Downs, Rashad Bateman as your wide receiver 4 and 5. That scares me. But does have Dobbs and Coker. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Team 2's receivers, but their running back situation is pretty good. They have Jaden Daniels as well, stacked up with Terry. So I do like Team 2. Team 3 is CeeDee, Taylor, T. Higgins, Rome Odunze, Hurts, Travis Hunter, Quinshon Judkins, Jonnu Andrews, Dak. So Pittman is their 5th guy with Leggett. Team 3 is okay. Not my favorite. I prefer Team 2 so far. Team 4 hammered running back early with Saquon, Achane, and Cook in the top 3 rounds. So their receiver position, JSN, Addison, Pearsall, Egbuka, Hollywood Brown, Palmer, Wandale, Adonai Mitchell. I'm not a huge fan of Team 4. Not atrocious, but Team 5 has Bijan, then 4 receivers. Not my favorite picks, though. Yeah, I don't love Team 5 either, but which one of the 3 do I prefer? I think the second one. I think when we were drafting at pick 8 or 9, whichever one I had that wasn't slot 6. The second team we drafted in this live stream, I think, was my favorite. But there's always a weakness on a little weakness on every team. Isaiah Bond is still here, so I should probably go Mike Williams for the stack with Justin Herbert, but nah, I'm gonna pass on Bond. I'm not really that big of a fan of Isaiah Bond. I think he might not work out at all. And while Mike Williams has had 2 terrible seasons in a row, returning to the Chargers if he can't stay healthy, I could see him be more valuable than Quentin Johnston. I could see that happening. Is it actually going to happen? Probably not. There's a reason he's going at pick 211, but it stacks up with Herbert, and they do have an established chemistry where I think I'm kind of just forced into that pick. Not sure it's the best receiver available, but for the sake of our team, probably the best fit on this roster. What about Team 7? They passed on receiver until Walker in the 6th. I can go Caleb Johnson, Zach Charbonnet, Tank Bigsby, Tyjae Blake Corum. Team 7's not bad. Team 8 has Allen. I feel like he's unstacked. No, he has Keon Coleman. Lawrence. 4 quarterbacks. What is Team 8 doing? When you have Josh Allen around 3, you do not draft 3 quarterbacks. If anything, you only draft 2. You can get away with 2 for sure. So don't like that, but they only have 6 receivers. Yeah, I'm not in love with how Team 8 panned out, but bit of a reach on George Kittle. Team 9 went Malik Neighbors, Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson, Jameis Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Jerry Jeudy, Matthew Golden, Tony Pollard, Jalen McMillan, Evan Ingram, Drake May, Jerome Ford, Devin Neal, Hunter Henry. I like Team 9 quite a bit. I think Team 9 is pretty good. Obviously, the Christian McCaffrey selection is not one I love, but if it works out, if Christian McCaffrey actually pans out, I think Team 9 is actually in really good shape. Team 10 goes Bowers in round 2, but kind of piecing it together. Team 10's not bad. I'll take a look at Team 11 and 12 right after this pick. But I do like Team 9. I also like Team 2 so far as probably some of the more viable overall rosters. But, oh, God. This is so disgusting. Do we just pivot to running back just for the hell of it? Yeah, I'll go back to running back. We'll get our 6th running back. We'll go Marshawn Lloyd. He's not going to have appendicitis and miss all but 1 game in his sophomore season. Marshawn Lloyd, as one of the handcuff running backs, does have value. In round 19, I'm willing to take a swing on Marshawn Lloyd, but passing on our 9th receiver may come back to haunt us. Okay, so now let's look at these last 2 teams. Team 11, Heath Beef, goes Nico Collins, Drake London to start, then Breece Hall, Marion Hampton. Decent price on Breece Hall. Then goes Chris Olave, Travion Henderson. I think Henderson fell to them, so that's a solid value. Cooper Kupp, Aaron Jones, Rashid Shaheed. So just hammered running back wide receiver in the first 9 rounds. And they go Justin Fields, CJ Stroud. Potential for that to work out. Then Trey Harris, Dallas Goedert, J.K. Dobbins, Cade Otton, Shedeur, Harold Fannin, Tolbert Restrepo. Team 11 is pretty solid. I kind of like Team 11 as well. And then lastly, Team 12 goes Ashton Jeanty, Derrick Henry. Then 5 straight receivers in Adams, Rashee Rice, Deebo Samuel, Jaden Reed, George Pickens, Stephon Diggs. So technically 6 receivers straight. That's definitely the way to go. Travis Etienne at pick 108. Jordan Love is the quarterback along with Stafford. Are they stacked up? Yeah, they're stacked up enough. Likely. Is that the tight end 1? Whoa. And Cole Kmet. Another 3 receivers. Team 12 is a little too much of a gambler for me to fully endorse on Team 12. I really like Teams 9, Team 11, and Team 2. And hopefully my team is that 4th to advance in this draft. We'll make the pick, then we'll remind you of the full roster. And then I'll sign off, then I'll say goodbye. But 100% we need wide receiver here. We're not going to draft Whittington because we don't have Stafford. No thanks on Boutte. No thanks on Valet. No thanks on Naylor. DeMarcus, no thanks. Kevontae Turpin, nah. Call me crazy, but a round 2 pick last year, Malachi Corley could turn into something. I also think Jalen Polk could turn into something. Will Tank Dell even play? I have no idea. It's the same thing with Christian Watson. Don't think they'll play. We'll go Malachi Corley just because it times out and he was at the top of the queue, but I probably get very little from Corley. But at the moment, Malachi Corley is competing with Allen Lazard for that number 2 receiver spot on the Jets. And with no Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure the Jets would like that pick not to be a complete bust. I think they will try to get him involved enough where there's at least a world where he does something. But if he fumbles on the goal line again, turns it into a touchback, he will probably get cut at the end of the season. So that's the only memorable highlight of Corley. He had like a 30-yard rush for what should have been a touchdown. Then he just let it go right before he crossed the plane. And that's nothing to brag about. But here's the team. We have Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert, Sam Darnold. Darnold is unstacked, so not a great pick. Caleb Williams, though, at least he's stacked up with DJ Moore, and that's what I need to work out in order for this to be viable. So let's pull up the team. Yeah, so those are my 3 quarterbacks. Running back is probably the strength of this roster with Gibbs, Kamara, Scadaboo, RJ Harvey, Rashad White, and Marshawn Lloyd. I really like these late round picks. I think Lloyd in round 19, totally worth it. Rashad White, I've said over and over, I don't understand why he's going so late. RJ Harvey, need a good landing spot. I like his talent, but may not work out. And then Cam Scadaboo, I do believe will be a starter in the NFL this season. Maybe not week 1, but potentially that early. And by the time we hit the bye week on whatever team he is, I think the rest of that season, he will be their main guy. I think he's going to be a Brown. Maybe he plays for someone else and does have more upside than just a Cleveland Brown offense does. But at wide receiver, at least our top 5 are really going to contribute with A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf, Khalil Shakir, Amari Cooper, need him to sign in the right spot. Mike Williams, our only stack with Herbert, so yikes. And then Malachi Corley, what a prayer that pick is. Tight end, we have Tucker Kraft, Dalton Kincaid, Zach Ertz. None of them are stacked up. So I can't say I love this team. For best ball, it's not how I would have loved it to go. We took a gamble on Jalen Hurts falling to us in that 5th round when we took Devontae Smith at 43, and it just didn't work out. Jalen Hurts went pick 51. Needed him to fall 3 more picks. It just did not happen. If that did work out, I would love this team. Didn't happen. That's why not my favorite, but it'll be okay. We only need to finish top 4 for this team to advance, so let's hope for the best. But Jason Calhoun, good to see you, my friend. Just barely beat you for that Subscriber League championship. Thanks for popping in last minute here on the live stream. But Slayton and Douglas are far better than Dusty Cooper this late, in my opinion. You know, man, I'm not happy with the Amari Cooper pick, but because he doesn't have a team, that's where I'm willing to just hope and pray that something does work out. But yeah, I'm not too in love with these late round wide receiver picks myself. We're just hoping for the best. But thanks for the input. Thanks for everyone who's been watching this live stream. It's coming up on 2 hours, 45 minutes. I think we're going to tap out here and say goodbye. We will check in perhaps the day of the draft, or probably during the weekend, maybe day 3 of the draft or day 2. I doubt I will be live streaming my reaction to day 1. But the draft is this weekend. Gonna be fun. Gonna get a lot more clarity and understanding on some of these picks. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, these receivers going between pick 120 and 170, especially guys like Jalen Noel, Kyle Williams, Jaden Higgins, and Trey Harris. Even Ilika Yamanor and Jaden Royals, one of those players is going to pop off in the ADP and have just the perfect landing spot, whether that's the Chargers, the Commanders, even the Bills or Texans, maybe the Chiefs. One of them will hit the right quarterback combo where we are coveting them far more. So that's going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time, and take it easy. Enjoy your Monday and rest of the week. Peace out. Bye-bye.